Hello everyone, today we're going to be going over a very basic enemy AI. So first of all, what you're going to want to start with is we're going to get out our wandering AI, and we're going to be pretty much using this behavior as well as additional behavior. So first of all, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that everything still works from before. And in the last tutorial, we had set up the raycasts here, or laser scopes as they're called in dreams, to only or not to detect friends. So we're also going to make this not detect foe, because we want our puppet here to be a foe now and not a friend. And this is just for compatibility with other systems and so on and so forth. So this makes it possible for them to run into each other, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. They'll be able to slip past each other, but it's fine for now. Alright? And now, what you're going to want to do is we're going to get a selector. And this is going to be a simple way to switch between our wandering, which is we're going to take the output from A of our selector and plug it into the power of the wander. And then we're going to get going to make a new microchip, and that's going to be our B port, or output from the selector. And what we can do here, well, actually, I want to show off a very basic enemy AI first, and how to get it set up, and then we're going to do a slightly more advanced way to do it. If you want like smarter AI, that for example, if the player goes out of sight, they'll go to the last position the player was in, and so on and so forth. Maybe even detecting, making sure it can, or advanced AI that doesn't detect enemy players through walls and stuff like that. So we're going to do a very basic one first. So this probably would use in any like maybe open like adventure game, not like a stealth game. That would be a more advanced AI. So we're going to do this basic one first. So what we want is we're going to get a trigger zone and a knock gate, and we're going to plug the trigger zone detected into the knock gate, and the knock gate's going to plug into the A input of the selector, and then our trigger zone is going to plug into the B. And right now we don't have a player set up, so we're probably going to want to do that. So go ahead and go to the controller sensor and make it set to none for it can't be possessed. Or you could even delete it altogether if you wanted to, because we don't even use this system at all for our AI. So we're going to keep the health manager here for now. I'm going to show off how to do the death ragdoll thing again in this tutorial. Even if you've seen it already, it's going to be pretty short. So with this trigger zone, we can either have it set up to possess controller sensors. So since usually, I think only players can possess a controller sensor, I don't think record possession acts as a possessed one, but I'm not 100% sure. But for now, we can go ahead and use this. And we're going to go ahead and make this be in the middle of our puppet here, not in the front. That's usually the default position because that's where the microchip is. So go ahead and maybe let's extend this out. That looks good for now. Of course, it's going to depend on your situation, but this is basically the area that the enemy is going to be able to detect the player in, is this trigger zone. And of course it's going to be a sphere, and I guess 7 meters for now. And you can go ahead and name it if you want, like player detection or enemy detection. Depends on if you're friendly or enemy that you're making. or friendly or enemy AI, I should say. So that's going to detect the player. And now when the player is detected, it's going to turn off our wanderer. And it will turn on our second state, which we're going to do a keyframe here. Because the puppet has a very simple and easy way to make it follow the player. So it's going to be probably, yeah, it's in here in the behavior section, which is some gears. And we have a follow, turn towards, look at, and we're going to want to have it follow when this is turned on. So by default, we can turn off this follow, turn towards, and look at, because we don't want it to do that when it's just wandering around. I'm going to turn on and off my controller. I got some pretty bad imp drift. Yeah, that helped a bit. Okay, so again, this keyframe is going to turn on this follow. And for the tag to follow, we're going to set it to player. And we're going to have to put that player tag on our player. And the inner radius is basically how far away they will be from the player before they stop. So 2 meters is like very... It gives the player personal space. But since I'm planning on doing a zombie here for the melee, we're going to do, let's say, 0.5 meters. And then our outer radius is going to be the same as our trigger zone here that we have set up for the player detection. So 7 seems good to me. And go ahead and hook up that keyframe to the B. And this is going to give you a very simple, like, on and off, but this isn't going to prevent it from falling or running into things. So we're going to want to make a copy of our Wander AI. And this is going to be our simple fall and simple fall and bump protection. And we're going to want to go ahead and delete all of these because we're not going to need it. All these sliders here and the random stop and the calculator. We still need movement, and we also still need bump and fall protection. And we're going to turn off this walk here because it's going to walk automatically. And we're also going to make it so this dampener is deleted. Well, no, we're going to keep that actually for now. So these should work here. And we're going to make it so the damp is turned on with an extra keyframe. That's what we're going to do. So go ahead and make another button or switch. You can copy the walk switch with L1 and R2. And go ahead and name that damp. And we're going to have this activate if we need to prevent ourselves from falling. But not for bumping. And let's see. I think we don't even need the walk thing altogether. Just something to prevent us from falling and bumping. So let's see if that works. I'm a little bit worried that these keyframes might have copied over, so let's go ahead and check. No? Okay, good. That's good. We can shorten or make the circuit board or the microchip smaller since we don't need that much space. And go ahead and hook up the B into that. And now it should go to anything marked as player if we're possessing it. So I might actually, just for demonstration purposes, change that to a tag trigger zone instead of a possessed controller sensor. So go ahead and get out another puppet, and this is going to be our player. I'm going to put the tag on the player, and of course it's going to be called player, and I set it up with a capital P. And I'm going to go back over the trigger zone and set this to tag player anywhere, everywhere. So now he's gonna wander around. I'm gonna make him just directly, or maybe this guy closer. Whoa. Oh, is he in? Oh, he's grouped with, I accidentally had him grouped with the puppet right there, so go ahead and move this. And it appears he's following. Yep. Cool. And we might also want to make him look. So we're going to add another keyframe. And we might, I don't know. Yeah, we're going to add another keyframe. This is a bit messy, but we can clean up later. And we're going to add a switch here. And this is for prevent look at. Basically, we need this so he's going to look at the player, and he's also going to want to not look at the player when he's preventing himself from falling or bumping. So in this new keyframe that we're placing, go ahead and go into the behavior, and we're going to turn off, turn towards. So if it's on by default, go ahead, or if it's off by default, just go ahead and double click it. Actually, yeah, go ahead and delete that keyframe. Copy the old keyframe we had. And we're going to make this keyframe with the turn towards, since we want it off by default. And we're going to make that tag input be player, and of course 7 meters. And we're going to put this AND gate into the first one, because that one doesn't have the turn towards, only our second one does. And then you're going to copy this AND gate, make a NOT gate, and hook up the switch into the NOT gate, the NOT gate into the other AND gate that we made a copy of, and then the B output into it, and then the result goes into our second keyframe we made. And now, if you haven't already deleted the B, delete the output wire from B into our first keyframe, so we only have the new AND gate hooked up to it. And now in our simple fall and bump protection, in our fall protection, we're gonna, for all the keyframes, we're gonna do prevent look at. And I believe we're going to do that for our bump protection as well. Alright. For some reason he's not looking at the player. Did I have this wired up improperly? No, he should be rotating towards the player. Or turning towards the player, I should say. What is preventing him from doing so? Let's see, this rotator maybe? Yes, okay. So I guess turn off the dampening on our rotator in our movement microchip. Or you could actually... you could hook this up to our calculator instead, so it's based off of that. Alright. So now, let's see how that looks. And he's still not having it. Okay, well, also appears that we need to set up the strength too. Oop. Make sure that's the default value, and we're going to set this to modulate. I can't tell if that's it's... Don't know why he's not looking directly at the player. It's not preventing look at. It says turn towards player, and we have the player tag right there. Maybe look at as well? No. Oh, you know what? I know what the problem is. Our player tag, the little node down here, is placed at his feet, and we wanted to place it like in his body. And that's going to work a lot better for us. And again, the default position is down here because that's where the microchip is. So now we should get a better behavior. Yep, there we go. Look at that. Alright, and what we're going to do is now we want to do the attack behavior. So I'm going to clean up a little bit, move some stuff over, and I'm going to put all of this into a microchip for our enemy AI. You can make it maybe red with a skull on it. Show off that, it's an enemy. And I'm going to go ahead and select everything that we just done. And, well, not this selector, but everything after the selector, we're going to drag into this microchip. And we're going to make a copy of our player sensor, the trigger zone, I should say, and turn this into attack radius. We're going to name it attack radius, and go ahead and shrink this down maybe to, let's see what that is, 1.5 meters. Yeah, that looks good to me. And I'm going to do really quick zombie animation. So what we want is we're going to drag out the hands, and this is going to be our default pose. It is something like a zombie. And this is just to show like proper sequencing for animation. Not for animation, but like attack. Kind of looks more like Kung Fu than a zombie when it's like down there. I don't know. Okay, that looks good to me. And we're going to make a timeline in our microchip for enemy AI. This is going to be attack animation. We're going to set it to loop. And then in here, we are going to make a keyframe. And this, we're just going to make a quick animation, so we don't really care about blending right now, because this is not a animation tutorial, it's a AI tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and make just 2 copies of that keyframe, and then hopefully make something that doesn't look too terrible. Then make a copy of the first keyframe again. And let's see here. Make it really short. See how that looks. That looks fine to me. Go ahead and shorten this down all the way. And we are going to get a health modifier, and we're actually going to place this on the timeline from the point where he starts attacking to the end. So that would be our 2 keyframes, then roll here. And with this health modifier, we are going to make it friends, because we are a foe and we only want to attack friend, because that would be our player here. And we're going to make this a per hit, and it's going to be a zone, and it's going to be maybe -10, something like that. This is just preference. And we're going to make this sphere, that's fine. And we're going to change this down to 1 meter. And I'm going to move this in between our hands of our enemy. There we go. So now if they're anywhere near our hands during the attack animation, gonna get damaged, son. Go ahead and hook up the attack radius into our attack animation power. And that should be a very basic enemy AI. It's going to eventually kill the player, I believe. Maybe. Oh no, this isn't... Our player isn't actually tagged as a friend, so now it should work. There we go. Yep, look at that. Dead. Cool. So, yep, very basic enemy AI for basically a zombie here. But this attack animation can be any weapon you want it to be. Melee, that is. I'm going to be doing a shooter AI tutorial eventually. But this is basic melee. So it could be a sword, it could be a shield, it could be basically anything. You could even animate a bomb throwing animation and use an emitter instead of a health modifier. You could increase the attack radius and increase the follow radius here in the behavior. Instead of 0.5 for the inner radius, you could increase it to maybe like 2 or 3 meters. And so he would be throwing a bomb from a distance with an emitter in here. And an emitter is in the movers and output section right here. Alright, and now let me see if I actually have time to do a more advanced enemy AI. Yeah, we got quite a bit of time left, so let's go ahead and do that. And first of all, we want to delete these keyframes, and these AND gates, and this button, and this NOT gate. We'll keep the attack animation and the attack radius for now, because what we want is pretty advanced. So we are going to get a laser scope, first of all. And this is going to be our eyes. We are going to have eyes on our puppet, basically. And we're going to make it so for detection mode, we only want to detect friends. And we're going to turn off X-ray. What this means is this laser scope will only tell if it hits something if it can actually physically see it. So basically, we want it to detect friends, and if this laser scope hits something, for example, this pillar here, or this tree, and the player's on the other side here, then it would not be able to see it because it does not hit the player. So it will not be able to see it, and therefore it won't chase after him. So go ahead and preferably use precise move, and we're going to move this up. And I believe maybe, let's see, foe? No. Not, yeah, that, okay. So I'm not 100% sure on this. I've done this before. but it's been quite a while, so I'm just making sure that everything will set up properly. Yep, so that doesn't work if it goes through the enemy itself, so we want to probably make it above his head. And go ahead and make it face forward. And this is going to be its detection radius. So it's about 7 meters, correct? So we're going to make this 7 meters long. Maybe a little bit longer because it's going to be pointing. Because we're going to use point at tags player like that. Because it's gonna go at a sloped angle, so maybe we want a little bit more range. Or actually, I think 7 meters. Might even be bigger than 7 meters comparatively. Yeah, so we want half the range because we want to be within the sphere of influence. So 3.7, 3.8. Yep, that seems fine to me, right? So this is basically our eyes. So now this is going to, at this point, what's going to happen is if our player is found by our enemy here, but not seen, then he's going to just stay still. So we probably want to actually get rid of our old trigger zone here and hook up the raycast or laser scope instead. Alright, and now we are going to, in here, simple fall on bump protection, that should still work. And we are going to get another, no. Well, in order for this to fully work, we want to go over to our player here, and we are going to get a wireless transmitter, and we are also going to get a splitter, and then we're going to open the properties panel of our player tag, output the scene space transform into our splitter input, and then we're going to take the translation and then plug it into the transmitter. Go ahead and name the transmitter either player or player position. I prefer player position. Right? And then we are going to, in our enemy AI section, I'm going to say, let's see here. Actually, first of all, we want him to go and investigate the last point of interest, so we don't want this to immediately turn off. We're going to put down a timer for about, let's say, 10 seconds. You can make this however long you want, but I say 10 seconds is good. And I'm going to go ahead and do the timer finish pulse into A, and then the knock gate from our laser scope goes into our timer, and the laser scope goes into our reset timer as well. So this way he will continue running his enemy AI until this timer runs out. So he'll continue following the player even if it's out of his distance and if he can't see them. So we actually want to create a node here in our enemy AI microchip, and this is going to be our C's player. So that way we can continue following to the last point seen when he is out of our radius. So go ahead and get another knock gate here, and we're going to place that in our enemy eye and hook up our node to it. And what we want now is we want to basically move our puppet to a position instead of using the follow tag system. So in order to do that, first of all, we're probably going to want to store the position of the player. So we are going to get a wireless receiver, and this is for our position, player position. And we want to get a splitter. Go ahead and hook up the wireless transmitter to our splitter. And right now it's going to be our just positive negative, I think, because we haven't set up the actual like radius of it. So go ahead and set that to scene for now. And we are going to hook up the A, B, and C output to 3 signal manipulators. And basically what we're doing here is we are going to freeze the output so we get to store the position variable. And we need 3 of them because I don't believe these work with fat wires. If we go ahead and test that. No, does it work? I'm not sure. Oh, this is so annoying. I really miss the debug feature that they used to have. Just get 3 calculators, I guess. 1.42, 0.93, 3.95. You know what? I think it might have been bugged in beta, and they might have fixed it. 1.42, 1.42, yeah. So we might actually just need the 1 for now, because I believe they might have fixed it. And we're gonna hook up the NOT gate from our C's player into the freeze. So that way, when we see the player, when we don't see the player, this input is going to freeze. So we see the player, and then he walks away from our vision. This is going to freeze the position instead of getting the position of the player. And we're going to walk to that position instead of the actual player position. And let's see if this is still working. 1.42. And let's move the player position, and it should be frozen. So it still should be 1.42. That was an X direction. Let's just move him all over the place. So 1.42. Yep. Alright. Splitter. Calculator. Yep. Alright, cool. Go ahead and move him back into place. Okay. I want him over here. Yep. Okay. Now that we have that worked out, we want to set up the puppet positional movement. Now, you can do this the easy way, and you can literally just get it from my page here by searching puppet positional movement. Or we're going to go over how this works. So basically, we take the position value, which is from the signal manipulator, and we're feeding that into a lookout rotator with 0 strength, 0 dampening, 0 speed, and the minimum distance and maximum distance don't really matter. And then the input here on the 3rd page, we have a target position and a scene space direction. And we're basically multiplying the scene space direction. We're taking the scene space direction, and that becomes basically joystick values, like as in direction, and it will walk the puppet in that direction. So we also want a house position in here. You can have that or not here, but that basically just allows it to turn on and off. So I'm going to delete that because we don't need that. So now our puppet will move to this position if it senses an enemy, basically. And in order to do that, we actually need our C's player, I believe. No. This just turned on, right? Okay, so B goes into power of what? Oh, this. Yeah, B is gonna just go into the power of our enemy AI microchip. Alright, so now it should move into the last known position of the player, or wherever it can see the player. And we don't have a minimum radius at the moment, so we may want to set that up. So go ahead and have a slider somewhere around here. Guess. And, or you could have it set up, you could either do this, a value slider, and then hook it up to a new, like, trigger zone with a sphere and set the zone size to this, or we're just going to take the simple shortcut route and hook up a NOT gate to this trigger zone here for attack radius. So we're not going to move when we sense the player and we're attacking them. Alright, I don't, yeah, we're stopped, okay. Cool. Alright, and let's see how that works with the timer here. Okay, for some reason we aren't actually detecting them. Is it still pointing at... Did I undo the player position thing? No? That's a bit weird. Okay, so it's pointing down from this. So what we could probably do is move this up quite a bit. Let's see if that works. Yep, that pretty much works. It's constant enough that he won't try to run away if he doesn't see him. So now, let's see if he sees him and then we turn this off. What happens? So he went to the last known position, I believe. No? Well, we're still on A for some reason. Okay. Did I have it directly plugged into anything else? No. What is happening here? Okay, so it's on, I turn it off, and then... Okay, I think he's trying to go to 0, 0, 0. Yeah, okay. So it might not be freezing it properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a output smoothing with 0.1 in our signal manipulator here for the player position, so we get a bit of a smoother decline in where he is. No, that didn't seem to work either. So I'm guessing it's not going to work with turning it off, so let's just try to move him very far away. Let's see here. So have him turned on, detects the player, and then move him far away. That didn't... shoot. Okay. Alright. Go and move the player back. And we probably want to also install a new, like, bumping and stuff protection, because I saw him sliding around a bit. So go ahead and get an AND gate out And we are going to disconnect the power from the NOT gate into our movement. And we're going to plug in the AND gate instead. And we are going to get another NOT gate. And we're going to get a switch out, turn it off. By default, hook that up to a new NOT gate. Hook up the new NOT gate to the AND gate. And the AND gate is hooked to the movement. And then, of course, the keyframes for the fall protection and the bump protection we're going to plug into the switch here. So that's basically going to override our movement stuff when we probably don't want to animate it for the bump protection, because what if we're bumping into the player? So let's see if that works. Okay, so yeah, that seemed to work well enough. Did seem to freeze it. I did drag him through this building, so we probably didn't have a chance to catch a glimpse of him going around it. Hey guys, just a quick little fix here that I noticed that, okay, well, he should be following me, but he's not, because he's trying to move away from this whole thing. So what we need to do, I believe, rotation speed is set to -1. We need to set this to be an absolute value. First off, and that could fix it, but we also have the chance of him not walking forward if he detects a hole. So we're going to see if this works first. In order to get the absolute value, go ahead and get a calculator out and open the properties panel of it. And absolute value is the very last option. This gets the value from 0 to 1. It basically gets whatever value passing through and removes any negative connotation to it. And hook this up into our dampening and rotation strength in our rotator in our movement microchip, and that would be in our simple fall and bump protection. Let's see if that works. A little bit. No, he's not moving the direction we want, so we are going to go ahead and add back in the feature we had in our other one, which is just walking, I guess. And that is going to be a little bit effort, not too much. I copy over the walk switch, the calculator, and the puppet interface. Actually, not the walk switch. We don't want to do that because we want to make our own. Because this one has animation information on it, and we don't want that. Hook up, get the speed slider, and copy over the maximum value thing again into this as well. Maximum value, and we're gonna hook up the speed slider into the calculator, and then we're gonna, in our movement chip that we're modifying here, and we're going to want to get another switch. You can name it if you want, but I'm not going to because I'm trying to get this done as fast as possible. Hook up the switch into the calculator, and then when we are turning, we actually want to move for fall protection, so he's able to get around things as well as bump protection. Alright, let's see if this works at all. He is just barely getting across, I'm guessing. Or, wait, wait. Oh. I think wait, what? I still think this is a bug that we had here, but I think, I don't know. Hold on. Hold your horses here. Let's see what happens. Oh, he's trying. He's trying. Oh, because I'm totally looking in the wrong spot. What did I do? Oh, shoot. Okay. I did something completely wrong, I think. Okay. No, I didn't do anything wrong. Okay. I was just looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so walk is selected. And we might want to have a signal we're going to take a signal manipulator for walking interrupt. And we want to set this to a smooth fall. About a second, so that gives us extra time to move out of the way. Still not seems to be working. Why not, though? We are doing walk forward, correct? Are we turning this on and off? No. Okay. So I'm gonna maybe increase the smooth fall a bit more. 2 seconds. Let's try that. That worked a bit more. I'm also going to get a greater than calculator. It's going to be greater than 0. And we're going to hook that up to the NOT gate instead, so we get a full off. He's not walking. Oh man, this is disastrous. Did not realize it was this bad. Okay. You're telling him to move, right? This does not seem to be working as well as I thought it would. Well, it works technically. Maybe hook up the same dealio up here for the signal manipulator and the greater than, and we're going to hook up the multiplier or calculator multiplier for the walk and the speed into the walk forward instead of the just default calculator. Let's see how that works. Oh man. Let's lower the smooth fall maybe to 0.5. Even more smooth fall lowering. 0.2. Ideally, we would want to get like a better position, some kind of positioner maybe, but for now this works. This is a quick fix. Ideally, you would probably want to get the raycast across the ground, maybe, and use that as a position. So let's try to do that, maybe. So we are going to... No, I don't think we have time for that. Maybe in a future episode of this series. I'm going to go ahead and swing you back to past Neon. So let's try playing... He's fast. Oh god, he's fast. I can't run away from him. He's too fast. Okay. Also, you may be noticing that his run animation is overriding, so you can go ahead and delete that. So we don't really care about it. And we're going to set the maximum speed in here. No, we're just going to set the maximum speed in general of the puppet to maybe like 3 meters for running and 2 meters for walking. Okay, so he went to our last known position, I believe. Then he started the wander again. And this might work better with a higher radius. But let's see if we get a nice effect here by the tree that I said earlier. Let's go ahead and move the player behind the tree. Alright, and this just barely does not reach from here, so just to prove a point, increase this maybe to 5 meters, and as you can see, it is definitely most hitting him, but it is going through a tree first, so it's not going to see him. Wow, that's a first. I haven't seen him gotten on top of a table before. Yeah, I think he's stuck up there. Alright, so now we have a decent enemy AI, and we have one that is good for stealth as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial so far. This tutorial series, more rather. If you have any ideas for a AI type you would want to see. I do have shooter AI, like to shoot things. So if you want to see something other than that in the AI series, go ahead and drop a comment down below. I hope you all have a great day. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye-bye.